much sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy. Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. It is a Friday. It's Valentine's Day, the 14th day of February for 2025. Mike Will and Tyson Havronic ready to start your day the right way with all the news, weather, and sports. Going to be talking some horse racing today as Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network is going to be joining us later on this hour. Of course, Fauner Park getting ready to open up another season this weekend, Saturday racing. And we'll be talking about Fauner Park and horse racing in general. That's coming up at 7:30 here this morning. But a lot of things on the plate, as usual, for a Friday. The Nebraska men's basketball team, they were in action last night. They lost to Maryland 83-75. Meanwhile, the Nebraska women, they were on the road and beat Maryland 91-71. We'll be talking about those two games coming up. The baseball and softball teams in action today. Hastings College basketball teams back on the floor tomorrow as they will play a doubleheader with the men and the women against Northwestern at Lynn Farrell Arena. The Hastings College softball teams, they were supposed to play this weekend. Those games have been wiped out in Kansas. We'll tell you about that coming up. Some coaching changes in the last 24 hours at Hastings College and a lot of high school basketball to tell you about here this morning. So the plate is full as we head to the Western Studios. Check in with Tyson Havronic. Good morning.
Yeah, seemingly the plate continuing to be full on a Friday. It seems like we get to the end of the week and it's no longer like take out the trash day on Friday where you're just kind of dumping news and sports. We've been dumped with a plethora of news and sports here on a Friday, 2 consecutive Fridays where we've got a full show. So yeah, we'll dive right in. We've got horses and hoops to get to and to talk about today. And as you mentioned, and I'm most excited for opening day for college baseball underway as we will hear that beautiful ping of the bat once again as Nebraska is set to take part in a big weekend series, and one of those games televised on MLB Network coming up tomorrow. So go Big Red as baseball season gets underway. It's here.
Huskers will play UC Irvine today at 2 in the MLB Desert Invitational, and they've got games Saturday and Sunday as well. Softball team, they're playing at the Troy Cox Classic this weekend in Las Cruces, New Mexico. The Huskers will play 2 games today against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 10, followed by a game against New Mexico State at 3 this afternoon. They've got 5 games scheduled for this weekend. So, yeah, they're out of here. They've had enough this winter weather. The baseball team says, let's open the season in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the softball team says, okay, let's go to Las Cruces, New Mexico. We're out of here.
Yeah, and I wish we could join them for live coverage down there because, it's just been too damn cold the last 2 days. And I know, it's February, right? We're supposed to expect that. But like I told people that were in at the brew pub last night, I go, it's a tolerance thing for me. Much like you build up a tolerance for beer and consumption, you can also build up you can lose your tolerance for the cold weather. And I think I'm losing my tolerance for the cold weather as we continue to get older. But, playing where the sun's shining and play ball down south. Let's go.
As you wake up, get going this morning, we've got cloudy skies, 15 in Hastings. A little windier, too. South winds at 17, which is producing a wind chill of -3 this morning. So
it's -3.
You head out the door. Make sure you grab the appropriate attire.
-3.
The Nebraska men's basketball team, we'll hear from Fred Hoiberg coming up during the show here today as well. The Huskers evidently battling the flu bug that was going through the team yesterday. In fact, Bryce Williams, he had to have an IV before the game. but yet played 38 minutes in the ball game last night. So kudos to him. He scored 20 points. Jawan Gary had 22. But the Huskers lose to Maryland 83-75 last night. That breaks a 4-game winning streak for the Huskers. Now, as Fred will tell you here coming up later on this hour, you can't let a loss affect your team like it did the last time. The last time Nebraska lost a game, we lost 6 games in a row, and that can't happen right now. We're on the bubble for the big dance, so to speak, and cannot afford to drop several games in a row, albeit Nebraska is going to go on the road again and play Northwestern and Penn State. Those will stay on the road, much like they did last week, was it, that we went out to Oregon and Washington.
Western road trip.
Yeah, they're going east, and they're going to stay on the road, so they're going to be gone for a while. Huskers will play on Sunday, and then they'll play next week at Penn State. So an important stretch now for the Huskers after dropping a game last night to Maryland.
Important stretch and got to have games. You can't look at your schedule that you've got and look at Northwestern and Penn State and not put 2 W's behind those if you want to be a postseason basketball team come March. So these are got to have games coming up, and it's weird. And just sort of kind of, I think, the Nebraska basketball mentality that we have, because the way things have previously gone. I was hearing chatter yesterday just about, now that we've gotten back into the bubble conversation, now that we've gotten back into the NCAA tournament mix, everyone's wondering how this is just going to come crashing down. And I think it's that, oh no, here we go again mentality. Last night was kind of the start of that, where you had that loss. You go, okay, well, yep, here's the first domino that's going to fall, and outcome is the rest, and Nebraska will slowly fade out of the tournament conversation because it's happened before. Historically, it's kind of the MO for Nebraska ball. Interestingly enough, the other conspiracy I have is the weird flip-flop thing that Williams and Hoiberg got going on. When the women were winning and winning those top 25 matchups, the men were in that 6-game skid. The men came out of the skid playing well. What happened? The women took the skid. In fact, played 2 basketball games, probably their worst 2 basketball games of the year during that little 4-game streak from the men. Then the women pick up the big win last night. They were down 11 in the first quarter, turned on the jets and started sinking in the threes. Next thing you know, you look up at the scoreboard and they've got plus 90 territory as they cruise to that win. And I had that sinking feeling. I'm like, well, the women did good, so the men are probably going to lose, and didn't realize the flu bug battle was going on. That would certainly point to a lot of things. But, God, despite you played with the flu bug, that's a pretty decent performance with the flu bug.
Yeah, 38 minutes he played. Good now, let's just hope that doesn't spread throughout the team. Like we said, they're going to be with each other for a while, as they're going to go out on the road and spend about a week or so on the road. Let's hope that don't travel through the team, and they're taking the necessary precautions, as I'm sure they are. Yeah. But that's always a big concern. Let's see, one other thing I wanted to get to. Oh, by the way, the nation's number 1 ranked women's basketball team was beaten last night.
Nice.
UCLA, they had been undefeated this year. They lost to their rivals, USC. Beaten by the score of 71-60. So the nation's number 1 ranked women's college basketball team lost last night. Bring you up to date on NASCAR. I know you've been thoroughly waiting for my update on NASCAR.
Bit. Yeah, well, what happened in the duels?
Well, they ran the duels last night. The 2 winners were Austin Cindric and Bubba Wallace. Okay. Bubba Wallace won one of the duels yesterday. Also qualifying for Sunday's race, Martin Truex, he is in. Jimmy Johnson made the race, and 4-time Indy 500 winner Helio Castroneves. They've secured spots for Sunday's race. They had dual qualifying races last night, so that'll set up the lineup. Okay. Most of the big names that you expect to be in the Daytona 500 are in. But again, Martin Truex, who officially retired last year, is running the Daytona 500 for a small buck team, and he got in. Jimmy Johnson, he is in. And Helio Castroneves an IndyCar racer. He's going to be in the race as well. So there's going to be 41 cars going to the green flag on Sunday for the Daytona 500. That is the most cars that they've ever had in a Daytona 500.
I have a question here in the back. Question. Bubba Wallace, would that be any relation to the great Miller Lite driver Rusty Wallace?
No, no.
Okay, so there's no relation there. This is a completely different thing. Bubba Wallace, different driver. Second question, Jimmy Johnson. Is the Daytona 500 sort of like the Masters where they get a welcome in like the Arnold Palmers?
Like the old guys?
The old guys. Is this like the senior tour for Jimmy Johnson?
No, Jimmy, he now owns a team. He used to be a driver, so now he owns a team, and then he races a very abbreviated schedule throughout the year.
Kind of whenever the hell he wants.
Yeah, basically, I don't know if he's a low buck team, but he's a small team. And Jimmy racing into the Daytona 500 is big for him. Helio Castroneves, he is in on a new provisional type of deal. He didn't want to use it, but he crashed out of the duels last night, so he gets in as like a provisional starter for the Daytona 500. So it's good to see him running NASCAR.
41 cars, huh?
I was just reading some of the tweets that are already coming in.
Yeah, we had a busy lobby this morning.
Well, we had a big crash in one of those races last night. I didn't get to see it because I had basketball.
Big one?
But they had a crash, and so they're going to be using a lot of backup cars. Some of the guys going to backup cars for Sunday's race. So if you're into that, you can get on all the NASCAR sites today and get you up to date on exactly what's going to happen. But the green flag is on Sunday at Daytona. My friends are down there. Jerry and Jinx are down there. They've been sending us pictures. Yesterday, it was a beer on the beach with some god-awful looking oysters.
What do you mean god-awful looking oysters?
Well, they sent us a picture.
Uh-huh.
They sent us a picture of these oysters they were eating.
Yes.
And they looked god-awful.
Oh, you... buddy.
Buddy. I mean, the picture did not look like I really need to dive in to these oysters that they were enjoying.
Would you normally eat oysters, or is like that just like an off-the-table food item for you?
That's not something I would normally eat.
Oh, I love oysters.
Like raw ones, they just go sliding down your throat.
Oyster bar, yes, any day of the week, man. Get me to a good oyster bar, and a beer on the beach. Like, how can you go wrong there? Tweets coming in furious and fast. Speaking of racing, we had an announcement yesterday on social media.
God, we're getting cool, aren't we? we're getting cool. We have team forces with the Cam Raceway. That's the local track in Hastings. And we have formed a little deal, a little partnership for the summer. If you can't make it to the races on a Friday night, now you're going to be able to watch the races right there on your smartphone or on your computer. Put it on TV if you want.
Yeah.
You can watch it right there in the comfort of your own home, and we're going to get you details on how you'll be able to do that. But we wanted to get the partnership announcement out there. You'll be able to watch the races this summer right from home via
awesome.
Extreme Sports and our streaming services now. So
that's
another way we're expanding here in the wide world of sports.
As much as I get made fun of for not being a NASCAR religious follower, because it kind of faded away when they started implementing all these new rules and playoff systems, and I don't know, it was just like less entertaining. I think back in the days of like Rubbin' Is Racing, and that was a lot of fun, like fights in the pit lane. Anyways, I got my start in sports broadcasting from Cam Raceway.
Really?
Interestingly enough, yeah, trackside announcing. I did that for several years.
God, you and I ought to go out there then.
Friday nights, yeah. It was so. I mean, I still have good friendships with some of the drivers and some of the sponsors down there. Still love going down to the pits after the race is over, and having a few bush lattes with the gang, and yeah, they're a good crew down there. So excited to get that partnership underway, and that should be a lot of fun this summer.
That's again, we'll have more details as we get closer. Obviously, we're not going to be racing anytime soon, but we wanted to get the announcement out there to get you up to date on what is transpiring behind the scenes. I kind of teased it yesterday. I didn't know we were going to officially have it later on in the day, but it was a quick tease. Oh, one other thing, kudos for Extreme Sports. We're over 1,000 followers now.
Let's go.
Well over 1,000 followers now on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Yeah, well over 1,000 now. So thanks for joining us on Facebook, and tell your friends, tell your family, neighbors, whatever, to follow us. That's where you're going to get the latest information on extreme sports. But we're well over 1,000 followers now on our Facebook page. So thank you very much for joining us.
No, that's kudos to you guys over there and your hard work in building this brand. And I swear to God, our IT guy never sleeps because we have something new and fancy each and every seemingly each and every day when we pull up the stream, and it's constantly being made for the fan. I say this a lot. This is a network that was created by sports fans for sports fans, and so we bring everything that we'd want to see as a sports fan into this network. And 1,000 followers, new partnerships being inked. This is all just a sign that we're doing the right thing over here. So kudos to you and Shaner for getting this baby up and rolling. And dude, I'm just excited to be along for the ride.
Yeah, we got the video streams going down for our high school sports, and we had it last night for the Hastings High Waverly doubleheader up at the Tiger Gym, and we'll continue to do that for as long as they allow us to do that. I know when we get to postseason, we're up against some new rules from the state, so we'll try to get to the video stream as much as we can down the stretch. So those are some of the things going on. Again, we've got some horse talk coming up in the bottom of the hour with Jim Sliker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. He's going to be joining us on Fridays for the next several weeks to talk horse racing, not only at Fodder, but the other tracks that you'll be allowed to go up and watch the races, simulcast racing, and maybe make a few bucks. Maybe Jim will give us some tips on making some money.
I have a notebook and a pen in hand. I am ready for 7:30. I am ready for ponies to get rolling. Mike Indorf, he's ready for baseball season to get up and operational. He's got 2 thoughts for the day here on a Friday. Opening day should be a national holiday. I think we all agree. Ozzie Smith, the shortstop for the Cardinals, has been a long champion to try to get that actually done in Congress. So that is the one, I think, area where Cubs and Cards fans can shake hands and say, let's work in tandem to do. Opening day should be a national holiday, absolutely. And he says, of course, and I'm not even going to repeat it, 3 words that deal with the Chicago Cubs. So he's obviously cheering for them as they move along in 2025 here in the NL Central.
Endorf is a Cubby fan?
Yes, he's a Cubby. As are a lot of... It's going to be a tough baseball season for me because a lot of our listening audience are Cubbies. Lou Dog, he's got a new profile picture with Kansas Jayhawk and a Chicago Cub logo. It's tough to look at.
Baseball season, it's still several weeks away. I know pitchers and catchers are reporting, and
spring training starts Saturday.
Spring training starts on Saturday, so there'll be some spring training games coming up. So anyway, the official start ain't until like March or something. End of March,
Correct.
Beginning of April.
End of March. Like last week of March.
All right, so those are some of the things that are going on. Again, we got lots to talk about throughout the day today. Let's get a quick news update, shall we? It's 7:18 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where they've been lighting the way to financial success since 1946. You can access your accounts wherever you go with mobile banking, which brings you financial peace of mind right from the palm of your hand, where you can securely and conveniently manage your accounts and loans at any time, from anywhere. From Daytona Beach to St. Louis to just about anywhere. Transfer funds, deposit checks, pay bills with Bill Pay. Quickly access those account balances to help you cover whatever little curveballs life throws your way with mobile banking today. One of the many ways you get to experience the credit union difference. That's Hastings Federal Credit Union at 707 North Marion Road, or online, hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. We'll start off with news from the library this morning as the City Council voted to approve Brianna Weichel as the next director of the Hastings Public Library earlier this week. Weichel takes over after former library director Amy Dismeyer left earlier this year. Michael worked for the library for 4 years before taking on a role at Hastings College since 2020. She will officially begin her role as director coming up later this month. Speaking of the library, they are excited to announce an open house event later this month to showcase the plans for the lot next door that was purchased by the Library Foundation in the fall of 2022. The exciting new green space will serve as an extension of the library, providing a natural, welcoming environment for community gatherings, library programs, and outdoor activities. The open house will feature a presentation on the project's design plans, along with information on project timelines and current progress. Attendees will have the opportunity to view the designs and are encouraged to provide feedback. The open house will be held on the 22nd of this month at 3 p.m. Troopers with the Nebraska State Patrol responded to over 200 weather-related incidents during the most recent winter storm. As the snow fell across the state, troopers remained busy as they investigated 34 crashes and performed 161 motorist assists, as well as helped other agencies with 18 different responses, all from the evening hours of Tuesday through the Thursday morning commute. And the Hastings College Choir is embarking on a regional tour through parts of Colorado and Wyoming this weekend. Today, the choir will participate in a Wyoming high school choral exchange and then arrive in Cheyenne to perform a concert at the Ascension Lutheran Church at 7 p.m. There are two events on Saturday. First, the choir will be in Golden, Colorado, home of Coors Brewery, to participate in and perform as part of the Hastings College alumni event. Then at 7 p.m., the choir will perform at Welshire Presbyterian Church in Denver. Sunday, the choir performs during the Welshire Presbyterian Church worship service before returning to Hastings. It's 7:21. We'll spin things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's the haps in sports?
Well, the Nebraska men's basketball team lost to Maryland 83-75 last night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Juwan Gary scored 22 points for the Huskers, while Bryce Williams chipped in with 20 despite battling the flu. The loss snaps Nebraska's 4-game winning streak. Maryland hit 59% of their shots in the game, including 7 of 15 from three-point range. Nebraska now 16-9 in the season, 6-8 in the conference. They'll play at Northwestern on Sunday. Tip-off will be at 2 on BTN. The Nebraska women's basketball team beat 17th-ranked Maryland 91-71 last night in College Park, Maryland. It was Nebraska's first true road win over a top 25 opponent since the Huskers defeated number 23 Michigan State 68-64 on January the 10th of 2021. Alexis Markowski had 20 points, 11 rebounds for the Huskers. Nebraska now 17-8. They're 8-6 in the conference. They'll play at Illinois on Sunday. Tip-off will be at 4 on BTN. The Nebraska baseball team will open the season today against UC Irvine in the MLB Desert Invitational in Scottsdale, Arizona. First pitch will be at 2. The softball team is playing in the Troy Cox Classic this weekend in Las Cruces, New Mexico. The Huskers will play Texas A&M Corpus Christi today at 10, followed by a game against New Mexico State at 3. Hastings College basketball teams will play host to Northwestern tomorrow at Lynn Farrell Arena. The Bronco women are 19-6 on the season, 14-5 in the conference, and beat the Red Raiders earlier this season in Orange City, 67-60. The Bronco men are 3-21. They are 2-15 in the conference. They lost to Northwestern in their first meeting, 95-86. Women's game will be at 2, with the men to follow at 3:45 tomorrow. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with the pregame show at 1:45 tomorrow afternoon. Hastings College softball games at Kansas Wesleyan and at Friends University scheduled for this weekend have been canceled. The Broncos will play at Sterling and at McPherson of Kansas next weekend. Hastings College men's soccer coach Brad Green has resigned. In his lone season with the Broncos, Green led the team to an 11-8-2 record. Meanwhile, John Schmidt has been named the new head coach of the Hastings College volleyball team. Schmidt has spent the last 3 seasons at Division II University of West Alabama. The Nebraska Kearney basketball teams will play host to Emporia State tomorrow at the Health and Sports Center. Game times will be at 2 and at 4 o'clock. High school basketball from last night. Waverly beat the Hastings High boys 52 to 43. Parker Ablett had 18 points for the Tigers. Hastings is now 10-10. Some other games, Adams Central beat Lexington 68 to 46. The Patriots are now 14-7. Grand Island Central Catholic knocked off St. Cecilia 81 to 39. The Hawks are now 1-20. In girls basketball from last night, Waverly beat the Hastings High Gals 54 to 18. The Tigers are now 4-16. Adams Central broke their 7-game losing streak with a 38 to 28 win over Lexington. Adams Central is now 8-12. St. Cecilia beat Grand Island Central Catholic 53 to 43. The Hawkettes are now 13-8. That's a check on your sports headlines this morning. Coming up on 726 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Hang on to your sweetheart today because on this Valentine's Day, they just might blow away. Hey, everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. We will be warmer today. We'll be in the mid to upper 30s through most of south central Nebraska, but the winds are going to gust up to 35 miles per hour out of the south. Overnight tonight, we could have a chance for a light mix of freezing drizzle to light snow and an overnight low of 14 degrees. 23 on Saturday, chance of light snow as well, and the next chance of snow again comes on Monday.
Right now, we've got south winds at 17. Temp stands at 15 degrees. Cloudy skies in Hastings with a wind chill at -3 at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage karts, flat karts, and the A-class winged beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
Mike Will, Tyson Urbanic with you on this Friday morning. Did you see the video? The people that are watching us on our social media sites, you now have video. Did you see the video
Absolutely
of the track?
sick.
Yeah, I love that.
It looks real good, and it
I
looks
love that.
God.
That's one of the things. If you're
You
watching
get our logo on a car.
some of the social media sites, you can watch our commercials. That's kind of neat. Anyway, we'll talk some Husker basketball coming up. We've got another form of racing, however, that we're going to talk about.
They're moving in the gates.
And down the stretch they come in the Kentucky Derby, and Barbaro is running away. It's Edgar Prado aboard, and Barbaro is going to win this Derby by 6 lengths. Bluebest had second. From far back, Steppenwolf came on to be third.
All right, it's time for a little horse talk this morning on Extreme Sports. We are happy to welcome in and to join us on the broadcast, Jim Slacker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. Jim, good morning and welcome to Extreme Sports, my man.
Morning, Mike and Tyson. Hey, honored to be here and be a part of Huddle Up and talk a little horses this morning.
You guys got to be excited. Fauner Park is opening another season this Saturday, and it's kind of like the Super Bowl, and it's we get all charged up. It's Fauner Park racing season.
It is racing season. You can tell the snow has moved in, the cold weather come in, and that's racing season. We're looking forward to a 31-day meet here this year that we've got a lot of horses, a lot of new trainers moving in, some jockeys, and the excitement's going to start at 1:30 on Saturday.
I know you've texted us here the past couple of weeks, and you talked about the training and the weather being good for the horses to come here and to get some training underway. The season looked like to be on an optimistic level for this year, isn't it?
It is. It's the weather's been fantastic for our trainers, being able to get the horses out onto the track. Normally this time of year, a lot of the horses are shipping up from Arizona, coming up from Louisiana. They've had a big advantage over the horses training here at Fauner because with the cold weather, they don't get quite the training in that those southern horses do. But this year, the trainers moved in early. The weather's been great, and I don't see that advantage here this year.
All right.
So we ought to see some really good races.
All right, let's talk about the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. Jim's been around for a while. Talk about your business, Jim. And I know people can follow you if they're heading to the races, need a little insight on what's going on. They can follow you and get a little info. Is that right?
That is correct. The Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network is a Facebook group, social media group that follows horse racing. Not only just Fauner Park, but across the entire state. We also do some national coverage, things like races leading up to the Kentucky Derby or going into later on in the year, the Breeders' Cup, some important national events. And what we do is provide coverage for our fans, giving them some insights to what's going on at the track. We also, I'm not afraid to put my selections out there, what I like. I'm probably betting the same horses that I'm putting on here. It's something that we just love to do. I love following them, been around them since I grew up as a child and attended races at Fauner Park. So 60 years of horse racing.
All right, so people want to follow your picks or at least get a little insight of what's going on. All they got to do is like you on your Facebook page, and how do they follow you? What's the Facebook page?
The Facebook page, it's actually a Facebook group, and it is under the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network, and we post on there almost daily this time of year of what's going on from training to recapping and previewing the races each day. So if you want to get on and follow us, it's under the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Group, Racing Network, and we'd love to have you there and join in on the conversation with us.
Jim,
Yeah, Tyson and I kind of talked. We got you on the show because our horse racing handicapping is piss poor, Jim. We're hoping that you're going to give us some tips. I mean, we lose our butt when we go to Fauner Park. We're hoping that you can help us out a little bit. Can you?
We sure will try. I'd be glad to share some insights with you on helping to get some winners. There's a lot goes into this. It's knowing the trainers, it's knowing the jockeys, and also seeing what's going on with the horses. It makes a difference on track condition. There's so many factors that go into handicapping a race besides just saying that's a pretty horse or I like the name.
That's the way my wife bets these. Like the first gray horse that comes out on a card, she says, "Oh, we got to bet that." I said, "Why?" Well, because it's a gray horse and it's pretty. So you're saying that is probably not a good handicapping tool?
Overall, for trying to make money, no, I would say not. You're gonna hit a few of those though, and they might pay well. But overall, I think it's kind of a losing proposition. Spend your money and buy a beer.
Jim, when we're talking about the early season and things just getting underway, is there financial opportunities here in the early part? Obviously they haven't had a whole lot of races under their belt. There's not a lot of familiarity with some of these horses here in the early part of the season. Does that make for more financial opportunities for those who handicap well, or just talk about kind of early season strategies a little bit?
Well, early season strategies, it seems like every year at Fauner Park, the same trainers do well. They have their horses ready. This is where I was talking about generally this time of year you'll see horses coming in from Louisiana, horses that are coming in from Arizona where they've been training in warm weather. They've got a lot more training in. They've probably run a few races down there. As opposed to the person who's bringing their horses in off the farm, training them at Fauner Park. Like this next week, we're going to see temperatures in the minuses in the morning. That's not conducive to good training. So that's things we look at. There's certain jockeys that, especially early in the year, we run a lot of 4 furlong races. There are jockeys that are experts at getting horses out of the gate. We'll see that with Jose Medina. We'll see that with David Cardosa, Kevin Roman. There's certain jockeys that just have that soft hand and touch that can get a horse out of the gate and get a little extra out of them, as opposed to some other riders that are maybe coming from off the pace. So things like that factor in quite a bit in what we're looking at.
All right, Jim, the opening day card is going to be tomorrow at Fauner. What pops up out of the card that we got for Saturday?
Well, what pops up first is there's 10 races, and the entries, the trainers stepped up. These horses are ready, so we've got some pretty good fields. There's races that have 8 to 10 horses in them, where sometimes this year we're looking at 5 and 6 horse fields. So when you have more horses in this field, it also lends some better opportunities. And to get the meet started, the very first race tomorrow at 1:30. If you would look at this race on the card, you'd think, looking at the quality of horses in it, you're going, this has to be a stakes race. No, this is a Nebraska-bred allowance race that has 6 quality fillies and mares running in it. It'll be a very competitive race, and normally these horses would be running in stakes competition. So it's a very good card to come out, and you don't want to get out here late and miss that first race tomorrow.
You have a favorite in that first race, Jim? I want to get off to a good start.
I do. It's going to be a very tough race. Like I said, there's some really good horses in this race. One that sticks out in my mind, and she will probably not be the favorite. She's a fan favorite, would be PR Oddsetter from Judy Pryor out in Omaha. This horse last year started 4 times is all and won 3 and finished 3rd in the other one. The time that she did finish 3rd, she had a little training mishap during the week leading up to this. With the construction of the casino going on out there, she was spooked. She actually fell at the time. She come out of it, appeared okay, but she just didn't seem on her game going into that race. So I look for her to kind of maybe upset this field in that race. She'll be a fan favorite, but I think that she's going to come from off the pace and knock them down at the end.
That damn
So
casino.
I really do like PR Odd Setter.
Yeah, that damn casino got in the way of horse racing, huh?
No, that casino is going to be great for horse racing. That's where the revenue is going to come in.
Yeah.
We've already seen the purses increasing. Last year they increased by between 10 and 20%, depending on the type of the race. This year's up another 10%, and we don't have the casinos up and running to full capacity yet. So it's going to really help us out.
Yeah, and when you talk about the future of horse racing, I think a lot of people are excited moving forward here, and especially, I mean, not only for our area here at Fauner Park, but really when you take a look and broaden the scope statewide, just what it means for thoroughbred racing in Nebraska. One of the things I wanted to ask, you mentioned PR Oddsetter, and he was one of my cash cows last year at the racetrack. I'm a big player. I love the big fish when it comes to the long shot play. Do you have a long shot play this weekend?
I can give you a long shot on both Saturday and Sunday that I'll be playing. On Saturday in the 7th race, well, first of all, I guess I'll go into who my best bet would be, and that would be the 7th race, number 4, Diamond Go Girl. I guess to explain my best bet, now listen closely, is not always the best horse to bet. It's probably the most likely to win, but when a favorite only wins about 30% of the time and it's a low payout, your chances of making money aren't good. But Diamond Go Girl is a 4-year-old. She's matured from her 3-year-old campaign, and she's on her game going a half mile. She has early speed and the stamina to beat her competitors. I think she ought to level this race and go on easily to the win. But if you're looking for something that might pay good, I like race 3, number 3, Oro Azteca. There's a lot of unknowns in this race. There's 5 new jockeys that have come to Fauner Park this year, and all 5 of them are riding in that race. And there's also 2 new trainers. It's a little harder to handicap jockeys and trainers when you aren't able to sit and watch them ride every day. You can do a lot of research on them and see, is this person able to get a horse out of the gate? Is this one... what quality a jockey is, and that's where I look at his jockey, Jaden Iron Eyes. He's come up from Turf Paradise. He's not a high winning percentage jockey, but he's also not riding a lot of quality horses down there. When he is on a quality horse, he's able to get him out of the gate, and Oro Azteca is one that looks like she can get out of the gate. With a good jockey like that, I think we got a possibility to get 8 or 10 to 1 odds on her.
All right, Tyson, a chance to make us some money, Tyson. We got a couple of long shots that we can hang our hat on this weekend.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to get an opening weekend underway and moving forward, Jim. With you here and joining us each and every Friday morning, this should be a lot of fun. And I could talk horse racing. I mean, we could expand the Friday show until like 10 a.m. I mean, that's how much I look forward to and love just talking ponies with you. But some real good stuff.
Oh, I could talk horses all day too. So let's get this hour program going.
Jim, a couple of weeks ago, Tyson and I brought up a horse by the name of Hot Chocolate. Is that 4-legged animal still around?
I really couldn't tell you on that one. A lot of times I'm not following them so much unless they're in the breeding shed.
Yeah.
And watching their offspring, and that's another angle that I look at, because we see a lot of maidens running right now is what their maidens, what their dames and sires have done, and how do you pick a horse out of a race when 10 of the horses in the race have never run a race in their life? Well, you've got to go back to breeding, training, jockeys, etc. again there.
All right, so Jim Slacker again from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network will join us each and every Friday for the next several weeks here. So if you want to keep up to date on the horse racing scene, join us. I'll give you a little insight on Fauner Park. Again, the Fauner Park racing season gets underway tomorrow, 1:30 first race post time. There's other tracks going on right now, Jim. And you can watch the simulcast races at Fauner.
Yes, you can. They'll be taking simulcasting from most every track across the state as long as they're HISA compliant. So all the quality tracks, Oaklawn, Fairgrounds, your Kentucky tracks, your Aqueduct, Belmont, etc., they will all be simulcast to Bonner Park, and you'll be able to bet them. And there is a couple big races coming up tomorrow and Sunday leading up to the Triple Crown. They're Triple Crown Kentucky Derby qualifying races, so you won't want to miss out on them either.
Yeah, and is there anything that we need to be aware of in any of those races? Anything standing out in those races that people need to know about?
Well, in the race at the fairgrounds, the Risen Star Stakes, that one is a 50-point qualifier for the Derby, and the more points you get, the qualifying for the Derby all goes off in number of points that you have. So if you don't have enough points to be in the top 20, you're not able to get in the starting gate. So a horse that'll be vying trying to get some points in that race is a horse called East Avenue. It's owned by Godolphin Stables. You know Godolphin, they won the Eclipse Award numerous times for owners. The horse is trained by Brandon Walsh. This horse run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile race. I watched that race when I was out in California. The horse stumbled bad out of the gate and never recovered. He finished next to last in the 10-horse field, and normally this horse is on the lead. And I look for him to come back tomorrow with a vengeance, and that's who I'll be playing in the race is East Avenue for Brandon Walsh.
All right, Jim, anything else people need to know for the opening week of Fauna or anywhere else around the country?
The only other race coming up for the Kentucky Derby would be the Sunland Derby down in New Mexico, and that looks to be a pretty tough field down there. It doesn't have quite the quality. That's only a 20-point race coming into that race, but in that one, I really don't have a horse that stands out to me. I'd probably be looking at a place called horse, I believe, by Blame It down there. I don't know. Sometimes you got to play a hunch bet, and that would be my choice there. But there's not one that stands out there.
All right, you've got plenty of things to look at this weekend. Jim, thanks for joining us today. It's going to be a great next couple of weeks with you kind of learning horse racing. And, hell, who knows, Tyson and I might even win a race or two this year.
Well, we hope so. And, by all means, I said we'd be glad to talk to you out at the track. As I heard Tyson say, maybe we get a live show out there. I'm up to doing that, and we can watch the ponies train in the morning. But, it's good to be on your show, and hope to see everybody out at the track. And remember, you will have fun. You can bet on it.
All right. Again, you can follow Jim at Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. You can watch his picks on Facebook or get all the insight on the horse racing. Jim, have yourself a great weekend. I know you will.
Oh, I will. I'll probably even have to have a beer for you out at the track.
Well, we'll join you after my basketball season. We'll have a beer or two, all right?
Well, let's talk winners next week.
All right, we'll do that. All right, thanks a lot, Jim. Jim Schleicher from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network joining us here today on Huddle Up as you wake up with Mike and Tyson. I'm ready to go. Ready to go.
My notebook is full. I got plenty of info and plenty of insight.
Grab the cash box, and you and I are heading to the track.
That's great. He does such a great job, and I mean, just explaining it and almost going in our lingo, right? From guys that are used to like betting names and betting horse colors to the insights and to what we're looking at and why we're looking at it, especially here in the early season, the temperature, the factor, the course factors. That there's so much that goes on into handicapping rather than saying, oh well,
I like the name.
Back in May he ran this time. That was pretty good. He must be fast. I mean, a lot of people, especially in the early season, will look at speed rating and just judge solely based on speed rating. But no. There's like 1,300 different factors that you can factor in and put together, a pretty sensible bet to win you some money. So looking forward to that continued partnership and continuing to talk ponies with Jim. That was a fun conversation.
You and I will, like I said, when basketball is finished for us, you and I will head to the track and we'll sit down with Jim. He'll probably change our way of thinking and the way of betting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you and I, we have no knowledge on how to win at this game. And certainly he's not going to win everything that he throws out there either. But chances of him winning a race compared to you and I are pretty good.
Yeah, well, and I've just done like a standard, $2 exacta box with like throwing 3. Sometimes I get really greedy and will throw a 4th horse in there. But I just play exacta boxes, because that's how I grew up playing and betting horses. And so that's really kind of all I've ever done. I've never done a whole lot of stuff with wheeling or, I hear people in betting lines in front of me and I'm just like, I'll just have a $2 exacta box on 2, 3, 4.
Get out of the way.
4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4.
Get the rest of these guys up here.
Shaner's saying LMAO, watching Tyson write down his picks for tomorrow and making notes on his phone. Yes, I was doing all of that during the show. And I was just taking a look at the entries too. When he was mentioning some of these horses, I was looking at some of the other entries that they were going up against, and he mentioned it. I mean, the first race at Fawner right out of the chute, that's going to be a banger. There was 3 or 4 horses that I remember from last year that were in the winner's circle quite a bit, or at least near to the finish line down the stretch. So you've got some big names and some big jockeys right out of the gate. And so that should be a fun start to the horse racing season for sure.
All right, 7:51, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. It's Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Back to basketball. The Nebraska men, again, they lost to Maryland last night, 83-75. Head coach Fred Hoiberg, he talked to us afterwards, and he says Maryland was a team that was just tough to defend.
Yeah, that's a really good team. That's very hot right now, as hot as any team in the league. And they are shot makers. They are tough shot makers. And, the one thing we said is you can't let it deflate you. The ones that hurt you are the transition ones. Those are the ones that you can test them in the half court. If they make those all game, you shake their hand and you move on. But I thought we had a couple plays where we rushed it in the paint, went up 1 foot, fell down, and that's what got them out in transition. Bryce had a really good one where he pump fake, got Queen up in the air, and got himself to the free throw line. But I thought we were rushed at the rim. We talked about making smart plays at the rim, and I thought that fueled their break a little bit. But again, that's a really good basketball team. Queen coming off whatever it was, 29-15 in his last one, and certainly we missed Burke out there. For size on him, I thought our guys battled, but that size, length, skill set that he has, that's hard to battle when you're down one of your 6'10" guys. And then Andrew's 4th foul was you guys saw it. It was not a good call. And we found a good formula with Andrew. We were getting the ball, we were running short pick and roll actions and getting it to the pocket. And Andrew was going to work on the cleared side, and that hurt us when he picked up that 4th. And it's part of it though. Those things happen. You got to keep battling. You got to keep fighting. And that Bryce had an unbelievable look after that timeout. It hit every part of the rim, didn't go in. You can't ask for a better look or a better shot. I mean, that thing was halfway down, and unfortunately just didn't fall. That would have cut it to 1. But again, those things happen. It can't deflate us. It's been a while since we've lost, and we have to handle it the right way. We got to get back to work tomorrow. I got a big game coming up on Sunday. It's going to be a mental day tomorrow with a lot of guys playing a lot of minutes, and 2 guys that did not participate this morning in our film session or our walkthrough with Connor and with Bryce. Those guys are not feeling very well, and I'm proud of Bryce going out and he battled his ass off 38 minutes. Connor obviously had some good looks. He had a couple that were halfway down, but he was struggling, and was really kind of a game time decision. And went out and battled it out, but it's a tough one. We haven't lost in a while, and we got to respond. And what happened last time we lost can't happen again. We cannot afford to go on a streak right now.
And despite all of that, the coach says the Huskers had some chances to win this game last night.
This had nothing to do with effort. I thought our guys played hard. They battled. And, we'd faced, like I said, probably the hottest team in the league right now. That's, I want to say, 6 or 7 for that team right now, and really lost. They had a double-digit lead at Ohio State. So, this team's rolling. We had our chances. We were right there at the end. Same thing when we played at their place a couple weeks ago. We cut that thing back down to one possession at the end, and we tied it, actually, and we couldn't get the stop when it mattered. And, so we're hanging with the best team. And I've said this before, guys, you can play well in this league and lose. And I know I'm going to go back in the film. There's going to be some things we need to get better at, but there's also some possessions where we guarded really well, and they made a tough shot.
So the Huskers will be back on the floor again on Sunday. They'll play at Northwestern, 2 o'clock starting time. You can see it on BTN, and the Huskers will remain on the road. They've got a game next week at Penn State. So the Huskers dropping one last night, but a chance to get back on the winning track again on Sunday.
Yeah, and like Fred mentioned, and we mentioned at the very top of the show, this is the absolute time that you cannot drop 2 games. You can't go on the road here and go back-to-back losses and then plant that seed of doubt. That was fun. We had our shot, but this is who we are. Oh, no, here we go again. Bullcrap mentality. You got to reverse that, and you got to flush this one down as quickly as possible and get after it on the eastern side of the U.S. here this weekend.
One other thing going on this weekend, you got the Heartland Hoops Classic. This is the 18th annual Heartland Hoops Classic. It is going to go on the Heartland Event Center in Grand Island. They're going to have a bunch of games, a bunch of high school basketball games from some of the best teams, not only in the state, but the nation. They're going to be on hand for some contests. It gets underway at 9:40 tomorrow morning. General admission tickets are $17, and that'll get you in the entire day. You can sit and watch game after game after game, $17. They're not going to clear the arena out and have a second session, and you have to pay another $17. $17 to get you all the games tomorrow. The schedule, 9:40. It'll start off with Summerland taking on Johnson Brock. At 11:20, Donovan Trumbull is going to play Lincoln Lutheran. At 1 o'clock tomorrow, Adams Central with a tough game against Ashland Greenwood. At 2:45, you've got Grand Island Central Catholic against Sydney. At 4:30, Papillion La Vista South is going to play team Pembroke Hill, who is coming in nationally. Then you've got Millard North taking on Wasatch Academy. That's a team that's been here before. And then Sunrise Christian Academy, another team that's been here before, going to play on Mount Zion Prep. So those last couple of games are some teams that are flying in here to play in this thing. So number one, the event is number one ran by Tino Martinez and his group up there in Grand Island. Number two, these national teams are coming in for some good competition. So you're going to see some great basketball tomorrow in Grand Island, and it all starts at 9:40 tomorrow morning.
Well said. And then on the tube, when's the last time number one and number two in men's college basketball have played each other during the regular season?
Wow, that's this weekend too?
Bama and Auburn are at 3 p.m. on ESPN, number one and number two. And I just have to think, probably a Duke North Carolina matchup at some point historically.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I can't remember a whole lot of number one versus number twos, especially this late in the season. Because normally it's like ACC, SEC, Big Ten. They split up those rankings pretty good. But here you got 2 teams in the SEC that are going and squaring off head-to-head. Yeah, 1 and 2 matching up at 3 p.m. And then in your Four Nations hockey tournament, the U.S. and Canada probably playing the most eagerly anticipated hockey matchup in quite some time on the international slate.
God, that's tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 7 p.m.
I might miss that.
ABC.
Probably miss that.
Oh, it would be a shame.
We're going to have basketball on the air tomorrow here on Extreme Sports. We'll be at home, Lynn Farrell Arena. Hastings will take on Northwestern for the second time this season. Bronco women right now, God, they're red hot. They're playing well. They will play at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and the men at about 3:45 will be on there with a pregame show at 1:45. We'll see if the Hastings College women can keep their winning streak alive as they kind of position themselves into a spot in the GPAC postseason tournament. Next week will be the final week of the regular season, and we move into postseason play. One other thing I might mention before we get out of here, girls sub-district basketball gets underway on Monday. Adams Central will be in action. They're going to be playing out in the C19 sub-district at Gothenburg. Adams Central has got Gibbon on Monday at 5:30. The winner will play the number 1 seed Gothenburg on Tuesday. Kearney Catholic, Wilbur Claytonia, Central City, the other teams involved there. Hastings St. Cecilia, the Hawkettes, also going to be in action next week. They're in the C28 sub-district out at Maywood. There's going to be 2 games on Monday. Centura against Shelby Rising City. Arcadia Loop City will play South Loop. And then on Tuesday in the semifinals, Maywood Hayes Center will play the winner between Centura and Shelby Rising City. And Hastings St. Cecilia's got the 6:15 game on Tuesday. They'll play the winner of that South Loop, Arcadia Loop City game. So Adams Central and St. Cecilia girls basketball involved with sub-district tournament action next week. If you want to watch them, you're going to have to travel a little bit like we will. Adams Central is going to be playing in Gothenburg, and St. Cecilia is going to be playing in Maywood. Hell, I looked it up yesterday. I didn't even know where Maywood was.
It's like southwest Nebraska, isn't it?
Oh, it's up by North Platte.
Yeah.
Maywood. I don't even know where Maywood is.
Yeah,
Maywood.
in that area.
And then Gothenburg. Gothenburg is out there, too. So that's just the way
go west.
The sub-districts panned out this year. They got kind of a new way of determining where all these teams go.
Yeah.
So that's where we end up.
If it makes for better competition and better quality as we get to district time and state tournament time, I'm all for it.
Oh, it just gives me a little road time.
And some windshield time.
Yeah, I'll conquer the problems in the nation. You can't believe how many problems I solve driving to some of these games. I sit there and dream to myself and say, why is it so difficult? I've got it all figured out here. I mean, I get 3, 4, 5 hours on the road all the time. I got everything all figured out. I said, why is it so damn hard? Use some common sense. I've got all the problems solved.
Common sense? What? What's that?
Anyway, thanks for joining us this week. We've talked a lot this week on Huddle Up, and lots of people are joining us. Again, make sure you tell your friends, family, neighbors about Huddle Up and Extreme Sports. Like we said, we're over 1,000, well over 1,000 followers now on our Facebook page, and we got so many things coming up. We told you about our partnership with Cam Raceway. We continue to bring you exclusive coverage of Hastings College's sporting events throughout the year as we start swinging into the spring sports season here coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got Legion Baseball again this summer, so we're up and rolling here. Slow this machine down, huh? We don't want to slow this machine down.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
Oh, God. No pumping the brakes. We're in the Ferrari now.
All gas, no brakes. Let's go.
We're in the Ferrari. Have yourself